I have a lot of crochet plans for 2025, and so I finally wrote them all down because they've all just been swirling around in my brain for the best part of like 6 months. And I have screenshots, I have a Pinterest board, I have pictures of TV characters that I love their outfits, and I have many a pattern and a mood board that I just forget about because I have so many ideas rattling around in my brain. So for this video, I am going to share my very rough kind of 2025 plan on the things that I want to crochet this year and what I want to achieve. This is going to be a very yappy video, so feel free to grab a crochet or knit project, sewing project, whatever it is, whatever craft it is that you do, because I'm gonna be yapping, okay? This is gonna be a very talky, chatty kind of video, so apologies in advance. Also, hello, my name is Rajan, aka Not Half Bad Crochet, and I post a lot of crochet content from tutorials, vlogs, day in the lives, project and process videos, and whatever this kind of video is. So if you enjoy crochet content, fiber arts content, feel free to give me a little subscribe, like my video if you enjoyed it, and let me know what your plans are for 2025 as well, if you are like me and you need to write it down, or if you just go off the fly with whatever projects come to mind as and when. Because I do find it quite interesting how everyone organizes themselves when it comes to doing their hobby. And so the way I've kind of compiled my list is that I've attempted to do it in kind of the year order, so starting with like a numbered system of like, this is the first thing I'm going to do, this will be the second, blah blah blah, and I've tried to kind of work through the year and essentially like work through the seasons as well. So that's kind of my plan, I guess, my agenda. If I've got any pictures of the inspiration or maybe a pattern that I'll be using, whatever, I will put it up somewhere over here. But let's get cracking. So the first thing that I will be crocheting in 2025 will be this little cardigan. So this is a raglan cardigan that I have started crocheting now, obviously, and it's in this really beautiful plush stretchy kind of stitch. It's with a 100% alpaca yarn. It's just beautiful. I have never made a raglan cardigan before. I've only ever made a raglan sweater, so I have been eyeing up those, you know, the kind of like high necked, round neck sort of cardigans with like quite a lot of buttons all the way through. I've been eyeing up those kind of cardigans recently because I have a lot of v-necks, a lot of this kind of thing where it doesn't kind of do up at the top, and I usually avoid those because I don't like things super high on my neck, but obviously I can make my own, so I can just adjust it according to my preferences. So that's exactly what I'm doing, and I will be writing a pattern for this. I'm currently writing it as I go along, taking pictures, all of that fun stuff, and I have some like video tutorials that I'll be adding to the pattern. So it's very unlikely that I will have the pattern ready for by the time this video comes out, but you know, if you subscribe to my channel, follow me on TikTok and on Instagram, you'll find out when the pattern comes out. I love the stitch that I've chosen. I absolutely love the stitch. I have some beautiful buttons in mind as well, because if you've watched my channel, you know I'm a slut for buttons, and I have some really lovely buttons in my kind of stash. It will take me a long time because it's a really fine yarn and I'm using a 3mm hook, so that's going to be a long project and a long process, I reckon. The next thing that I will be crocheting is actually to fix my sister's Christmas gift. It's not anything too bad, but I crocheted my sister the Snuggly Bugly sweater, and I will put the link to the pattern and the vlog if you want to check that out in the description. And when I gave it to her, it did fit her, but the sleeves were just a tiny bit too tight, and I did block the sweater, so it's not even like I could kind of stretch it out with blocking or anything. So I just need to redo the sleeves basically. I did the sleeves in the round, and the sleeves don't typically take me that long, but that will be the kind of next thing that I want to do for 2025, and she's not in any kind of desperate need for it. And honestly, I reckon I'll probably, if I like get bored of this project, then I'll probably just kind of do that a bit more like intermittently. For me, I personally like to have one whip at a time. I think towards the end of this year I had multiple whips on the go, and I actually found it really stressful. Like I don't know where to focus my energy, so I just get a bit like discombobulated, and then I just kind of don't work on anything because I'm overwhelmed with the choices that I have of the things to work with, if that makes sense. So usually I am very much a one project at a time kind of person, because I just can't spread my energy that far across multiple projects. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I know some people obviously like to have, you know, the variety and, you know, and the multiple options, but for me I just get quite overwhelmed when that happens. But moving on to the third thing that I want to make in 2025, it is the I'm Fire sweater. I think it's called I'm Fire. It's either I'm Fire or I'm on fire or it's fire or something like that. It's a pattern by Made in the Moment, and I have had this pattern for probably a year. Maybe I thought somebody was on the roof. Nobody's on the roof. It just looked like a human was on the roof. It's fine. What was I saying? I've had this pattern for a really long time, but I was really scared of tapestry crochet. But if you have seen my recent video where I crocheted the Uzma Kappa sweater from Monsters at University, you will know I have overcome my fear of tapestry crochet. If you haven't watched that video, I will put it in the description so you can watch it because it's fun. But yeah, so I really want to do the I'm Fire sweater. I have the yarn mentally assigned in my brain that I want to use. I have a black, I have a hot pink, and I have a baby pink, and I think that's going to look so fire. Sorry, I couldn't help myself, okay? The jokes write themselves. Yeah, that's what I want to crochet next, because I kind of want to do, like, the fit that I want to go for with that sweater is just like a very, like, not cropped but not big either. Like, just kind of like waist length sort of sweater, relatively loose, you know, quite comfortable. I want it to be like cozy and plush and warm, you know, and I think that's very achievable with this pattern. I also, when I obviously first bought it, I did have a scan through the pattern. Obviously the tapestry side of it made no fucking sense to me because I had no idea what I was doing, but the actual pattern itself I think is very well written, and I think it's going to be very simple for me to follow because I can't always count, okay? As we all know, I can't always, you know, rub two numbers together. So that's what I want to crochet next. And so the next project that I want to do is, and I don't really know how to explain my feelings. So I basically crocheted a sweater called the All Frills sweater. It's my own pattern. If you would like the pattern, I will put it in the description. But in the All Frills sweater, I use this beautiful Sidar jewel spun yarn in the shade Midnight Fjords. This is also Sidar jewel spun yarn in Evening Jade. So I'm a big fan of their yarn. But I crocheted that sweater with that yarn, and if you know this yarn, you know it's not particularly cheap. Considering it's acrylic, it's not very cheap, but the colorway is just beautiful, and I love that sweater. I wear it, but I don't wear it enough for me to warrant using a more expensive yarn for it. Does that make any sense? It's like, it's kind of more of like a statement piece. Like I wear it kind of when I'm going out, or I wear it if I'm like dressing up a little bit more. And I am somebody who is a bit of a homebody. I work from home, I obviously live at home, and I'm very much like comfort, you know. I always go for comfort and practicality first, and as much as that is comfortable, it's not something that is necessarily practical for like every day, and it feels a bit much to be like wearing it just hanging around the house sort of thing, as beautiful as it is, you know. And I love the pattern, I stand by the pattern, I think it's great and it fits me lovely, the yarn looks beautiful, but like I said, I think the yarn could be utilized in something that I actually wear more regularly. So my plan is to frog that sweater, which is such a shame because it's beautiful. Basically use that yarn to make a nice just classic cut sweater, but I want to make a roll neck, and I don't usually like kind of things around my neck because I feel like I'm being suffocated, and I get very overstimulated very easily when I get hot around my neck as well, and like if my hair's in the way, you know, I just get, it's a bit much. So I want to make like a roll neck that's kind of like got a deeper neckline so that the roll neck sits like here and it's not just like in my face. That's what I want to do with the All Frills sweater that I currently have. Rework it into something new and something that I can wear on a more kind of everyday sort of basis. And as well, the great thing is because the yarn is so beautiful, that kind of sweater I'll be able to like dress it up but also wear it on a more casual basis as well. So I kind of get like the best of both worlds from this yarn that is quite pricey. The next thing is a little bit of a wild card one for me. So I want to try Tunisian crochet, and I think for me, when I was kind of making my list of things that I want to make, and how do I say this without sounding like a dick? There are not many things in crochet that I haven't attempted, and that I'm kind of like intimidated to try, if that makes sense. Because I was intimidated by tapestry crochet, I did it, I'm like, wow, this is actually relatively simple. I was intimidated by crochet lace, I did it, I was like, wow, this is relatively simple. So all of the things that I've kind of like for 2024 that I've like challenged myself to do, I've done it, I've loved it, and I've, you know, been able to overcome the fear side of it, or the difficulty, the fear of the difficulty, if that makes sense. So the next thing is Tunisian crochet, because I've never done it before. I think it looks beautiful. I think it looks really fun. It looks like it creates really lovely, like the structure of the garments always look really nice as well. And so I want to give it a go. I don't think I want to kind of buy myself any particular like fancy yarn and stuff, like hooks for it and stuff, but I want to give it a go in some capacity. I know that there are some stitches that you can do with Tunisian crochet where you don't need one of those really long hooks, and that you can use your normal hook. So I'll have to have a scout around for patterns for it, but I do have some yarn in mind, which again, depending on the pattern, it may work, it may not work. But I bought some of the recycled acrylic yarn from the Wool Factory, and I have a lime green, a kind of berry purple, a dark kind of cobalt blue, and then I think a bright pink. There's another one, I can't remember, maybe a bright pink. And it sounds like a weird color combination, but it just works, you know, when you're just like, this is weird but it's fun at the same time. So I think I want to kind of mentally assign that yarn for this project. Whether it will work out, I don't know, because I obviously haven't found a pattern or, you know, a design that I want yet, but that's kind of hopefully what will be on the agenda. And then for my next project, so the first garment I ever crocheted was a cardigan. It was from Erin Ryko, who was back then known as Erin B Tutorials, and she did like a very classic kind of v-neck cardigan pattern on YouTube tutorial, and I made it, and it was the first garment I ever made. The sizing, not good. The cardigan has stood the test of time though. It still exists, you know, it's not fallen apart, it's absolutely fine, but it just doesn't fit me well at all. And I want to frog that cardigan, and I want to make a sweater out of it. And I have been dying to make a sweater with, like, you know, thick stripes. I don't know why I've not done this yet. Like, you'd think that stripes are like the first thing that you would make when you're crocheting something, because especially if you've got, like, you know, different colored yarn, blah blah blah. I've not made anything stripy, or if I have, it's been like, you know, thin stripes or something. But I'm talking about, you know, like very emo 2010 sort of vibe with like thick stripes, you know. I want to do that. And so it's a brown cardigan with baby pink. Depending on how much yarn I have will depend the layout of the stripes, if that makes sense. But I do also have a baby blue that of the same yarn brand, I think, or at least the same yarn weight, that I can incorporate. So it will be like brown, baby pink and baby blue in a thick chunky striped sweater, and I think that would look so cute. So that is what I want to do with that cardigan that I have, because again, I'm not using it, I'm not wearing it, it doesn't fit me well, I don't reach for it. And if there's one thing about me, I am going to reuse that yarn and put it to good use and make something that I will actually use and actually wear. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think if you do have a project that, you know, obviously is a bit different if like your yarn has felted, or if it's gone really bobbly, or whatever the scenario is, or if it's like broken or damaged, which to be fair you can fix. But I think for me, like, there's a lot of projects that I have, especially that I made in the early days of my crocheting journey, that don't fit me very well, or I maybe didn't reach for, or whatever, and like I will always frog that project and reuse the yarn, you know. And I think that should absolutely be normalized. So reuse your yarn. And the next thing, which ties onto that little tangent very, very well, is that I have a rainbow sweater that I crocheted a very long time ago. It's a really beautiful, like, kind of chunky rainbow yarn, and it was my first ever raglan sweater, and it went really, really well. But then right at the end, I decided to add a collar onto it, like a kind of pointed, you know, like a shirt collar. Decided to add a collar. I don't know why, but the way I added the collar, it made it kind of bunch up around the neck. And I think because it's quite a chunky yarn, when it folded over, it just didn't look right. It kind of looked really bulky and like quite strange around the neck. It didn't really work. So I want to fix that, because it's a really cool yarn, it's a really fun colorway, it's literally a rainbow, and I want to fix it. So whether it's a case of I just need to fix the collar, great, or whether it's a case of I need to frog the whole thing and start again, that's fine. You know, I've kind of accounted for that in my mental state. So plan. That's something that I really want to do, because again, that's just a project I've just got sitting there that I've not worn, I've not touched, and I can absolutely reuse the yarn for something bigger and better. I think around this time last year I frogged one of my old sweaters, and it was basically a sweater I made with this pattern from somebody on TikTok called, I think their name is Caroline Fox, and it was a really lovely sweater. Their tutorial was great, but I just made mine super short. Like, it literally just covered my boobs, and if I put my arms in the air I would be flashing everybody. So this time last year I frogged it, and it was kind of like a bunch of different blue tones. This was yarn that I got from my mum, because my mum used to knit and she had a bunch of yarn, and I raided her yarn stash when she kind of first learned that I was crocheting, and so I used that yarn towards it. So I still have this frogged yarn from probably about a year ago now, which I know is not very good for the yarn, but whatever. But yeah, so I have all of this beautiful yarn, and it's because it's a bunch of different like blue tones. I'm thinking like a patchwork sweater, or maybe even a patchwork cardigan would look really nice, and then just to have one of those colors as like an accent color for like the ribbing or something. So that's what's on my agenda next, because I have this really lovely yarn that I just, you know, has been sat there for however long, and I've just not done anything with it because I can't get myself organised. But now I've got my little book, I can just consult my little book. And then by now I'm going to presume that I'm probably moving into like summertime. I think what, eight sweaters essentially, or 7 or 8 sweaters. But yeah, so the next thing is going to be more, the next few bits are going to be more summery pieces. So I really want to make a wave hello top in like a thin yarn, and the wave hello top is one of my own patterns. It is a beautiful pattern. It's kind of like a faux halter neck with like little ruffled accents, and it does that thing where it kind of goes up the neckline to give you the illusion of a halter neck, but it doesn't tie around your neck, and it's also got like a full back, so you can still wear a bra or a bra top with it, and it's not going to affect the way that the top looks. So I don't wear halter necks because they hurt my neck and my back, because I've got big boobs. And if you're like that, or maybe you don't like the way a halter neck fits or feels, you'll probably enjoy the wave hello top a lot. When I made mine, and when my testers did theirs, they all used like around like a DK weight, or a slightly chunky, maybe like an Aran, a DK or an Aran weight yarn for theirs, which all looked amazing. Don't get me wrong, they all look beautiful, but I really want to see what it's like using a thin yarn for it. And I'm thinking like maybe a semi lace weight kind of yarn, like a 3mm hook sort of vibe. And I really want to make a thin yarn version of the wave hello top, and I have a bunch of like really beautiful cotton that I can use for that. So I'm mentally assigned that yarn to this top, and I think it's going to turn out so cute. Obviously as well, if you would like the pattern, I will put it in the description. The next thing I want to make is kind of like a summery thing as well. I really want to make a maxi or a mid-axi length dress. I don't really know what kind of style dress I want to do, but I want it to be just like a classic summer piece. I'm thinking nothing too, you know, wild or out there, no kind of crazy necklines or anything like that, just like maybe like a scoop neck with some nice thick straps, like a vest sort of strap, because then it will kind of help support the weight of the dress, especially if it's going to be long. And I really want a nice staple mid-axi maxi summer dress. What I also want to achieve with this is to be able to wear it in like the autumn and the winter as well, because if I make it with like kind of thick straps, I can wear it over like a long sleeve top, or I can wear it over a roll neck. I can maybe put like a cardigan with it, or a jacket or something. I want to be able to wear this all year round, because I did make some beautiful dresses this year, the Estelle dress and then my own kind of lacy dress, but they are very summer dresses, and I want to have like one that can do both. So yeah, I have no idea what the vibe is of what I will be creating for that one, but I just know that I want it to be like just a classic silhouette, you know, something that fits me really nicely, something that makes me feel good in my body, but I can use it for the summer, I can use it for the winter and the autumn, and just like a good all-rounder. And for the next thing, I really want to make a stripy like front tie cardigan, like, you know, the ones that have like the ties there and then the ties there and then the ties there, you know, like, and then I'll have like little bows. I really want to make one of those, but a stripy version. And I have this beautiful like cotton and acrylic mix, which is a turquoise, a yellow and a pink, and I think they will look so cute together, and especially that it's a really thin yarn, so I think if I do it in stripes it would look really, really lovely. And I'm sure I'll be able to find like a fun stitch for it, because I think that will kind of like really highlight the different colors in the pattern. So earlier this year I went to go see Megan Thee Stallion, and I crocheted myself like a little cord. And if you've watched the vlog, which I will link in the description, if you watch the vlog you'll know it was it was an interesting time, me crocheting this, and I had so many ideas. I pivoted about 1,000 times, and ultimately the co-ord I made was cute, but I did end up with a bunch of like African flower granny hexagons, and I had originally made it into like a certain style top that I wanted to originally wear, but when I put it all together, I think the way that I put the hexagons together, the way I kind of like tessellated them, it didn't quite work with like adding straps. It kind of like stretched it out in places it shouldn't have been stretched out, and so I do still have that top. I think I have it fully constructed, and it's like the ends need to be woven in or whatever, but I do still have that top, and I do want to turn it into a top that I would actually wear. I think I also made it really short. I think I only did like it was like 2 hexagons wide, so it like barely covered my boobs. So I think I want to rework that, make it into something that I will actually wear, which I don't think will take me too long because the hexagons are done. It might just be a case of rejoining them in a different way, playing Tetris with it. But I'm pretty sure as well I did a join as you go method with it, which may make my life a little bit easier, and I definitely didn't weave in the ends, which will definitely make my life easier. I also really want to create another one of my split vests. So I did like a vest or a waistcoat which has like a split color situation, with one side being like a dark brown and one side being like a kind of goldy brown, and it has like a kind of accented trim, and it's split down the back as well, so it's like properly, you know, color split. And I have been wanting to do a YouTube tutorial for this vest for ages, so I'm finally gonna do it. Okay, I've written it down, that means it's gonna happen, and I really want to do it, so I obviously have to make another one. And I have this really lovely like teal yarn and like a dark kind of like foresty green yarn as well, which I think go really, really nicely together. So I want to make that vest in those 2 colors, and then obviously I can do a little tutorial for it as well. I have mentioned it on like my last video, and if you follow me on TikTok, I have mentioned that I really want to do a tutorial for it, and a lot of people have expressed interest, so you know, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it. But I really want to try and do a lot more tutorials this year, and maybe the other projects that I've kind of talked about, if I feel confident in them and I feel like they're going well, I may do tutorials in some of those as well. So yeah, so I want to try and do tutorials a bit more, but doing tutorials is hard, you know. As somebody who freehands, you know, obviously as well, like I've got to advise on like how to measure, and I know my body quite well. I know how to size myself quite well when it comes to crochet stuff, so it's quite hard to kind of, sometimes it's quite hard to almost like translate that for somebody else to do it, you know, unless I'm physically there and holding the measuring tape. It's quite hard to be able to share that with somebody else when it's not, you're not visually there to see what they're doing. That's the plan. I want to make another vest, and I want to make a tutorial for it. And the good thing with that vest as well is that the brown version I made with a 100% cotton yarn, and so I can wear it in the summer and I can wear it in the winter, because I can just use it as like a layering piece. So I think that's what my favorite thing is about this vest, is that you can wear it all year round. I've worn it with like a roll neck, I've worn it with long sleeves, I've worn it with a t-shirt, I've worn it just on its own. So it's a very versatile piece that I think has become like a definite staple in my wardrobe since I made it. And then the next thing I want to make is that I have found so many beautiful lacy squares, and I actually have a tutorial for one called the In Bloom square, and I love lace. I love crochet lace. I think especially this year I have really found my love for crochet lace, and especially the fact that they're often relatively simple. You just have to kind of know, what you're doing, which I suppose is like anything, isn't it, really? But I really want to make like a lacy square vest, like a tie one at the front, just like a patchwork kind of situation with a little tie at the front, something that will kind of jazz up an outfit or look really cute with like layered and stuff. Again, something that I can wear in like the summer, the winter, the autumn, you know, all year round. I can use it as a layering piece. So that's something that I really want to do. Sticking to the lace theme, I have my Blossom cardigan, which is a lace cardigan, and it's like a tie-up situation, and I really want to make another version of that, but with like a different kind of lace. So like similar construction but different lace. I don't know what it will be. I don't know what it will be, I don't know what colors it will be, but I want to make another version because I think, I don't know, like I said, I've fallen in love with crochet lace, and I think it's just such a lovely layering piece. I think it's a lovely statement piece. I feel like they're really versatile, you know. So, and the next one is another tapestry crochet project. I again have had this pattern for a bajillion years. It's from Ty Bailey, who is very well known for their tapestry crochet projects, and their stuff is mind-blowing to me. And I remember when I first came across their account and I was like, holy shit, you can do this with crochet? And then I was like, oh my god, I can't count. And then realized like tapestry crochet is, you know, a different skill. I've had my exposure therapy to tapestry crochet, and I've realized it's like completely achievable, you know, it's within my skill set. So anyway, going back to my original point, I basically got a free tapestry crochet pattern from Ty Bailey, and it's of No Face from Studio Ghibli. Is it Studio Ghibli or is it Studio Ghibli? Because I've heard both. I don't know. I've always said Ghibli, but I hear a lot of people saying Ghibli. I don't know. Anyway, it's from No Face, from Spirited Away, from Studio Ghibli. It's a tapestry, you know, pattern, and it's a really great pattern. They have shared the chart, they've shared the kind of step-by-step, you know, row 1, this is how many black stitches, this is how many blah blah stitches. Really great pattern, really easy to read. I would highly recommend it. I don't actually know if they've still got it out, if it's still available. I got that pattern ages ago, and it's not for a wearable, it's just the tapestry. But I think now, because my knowledge of tapestry crochet has gotten better, I can turn that graph into a sweater, I think. So I'm going to try and do that. And again, I have mentally assigned the yarn in my head, and I think I bought the colours for this like a year ago. I think I actually was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy the colours now, and I bought them, and they've just been sat in my fucking yarn stash, and I've not done anything with it. But anyway, I've got the colours, I know what I want to do. On the tapestry, No Face is black. He's got his kind of like creamy white mask sort of thing. He's got like some cute little like almost like blush marks, like dimple blush marks, which are like purple. And then the background that Ty Bailey did was like the same purple. So I'll probably, and I got those colors, so I will probably do the background purple. But what I'm thinking is, because I ended up getting this like really lovely minty color, what I'm thinking is maybe doing like a striped situation on the sleeves, or like incorporating the mint somehow, maybe like doing a striped background or something like that. Now that I'm a little bit more confident and I can kind of like change things up a little bit, I'm thinking that might be quite cute. And for the next project, so this one I have called my Minecraft sweater, which, oh, it's actually over here. How convenient, I haven't put my laundry away. So I crocheted this sweater a while ago now, maybe like a year ago, and it's like a kind of mini checkerboard sort of thing. This one is brown, dark green and light green, and when I made this, my partner was like, oh, it reminds me of Minecraft because of the colors. So that's fun. But this has now been affectionately called my Minecraft sweater, which I don't mind, I think it's funny. So I want to make another version of that sweater, and I think in like a pinky purpley like red kind of color tone would look really cute. And I really want to make either a pattern or a YouTube video for it, because it's a very simple make. So I think it would be a good one for a YouTube tutorial, because it's quite easy for me to kind of explain what to do. Yeah, I really want to make another version of that, maybe a little bit longer, because this one I made was cropped, so maybe like a waist length one, slightly more oversized sort of thing. I think that would look really cute. And the good thing is that I think by this time of the year sort of thing, I probably will have a fair bit of like scrap yarn that I can put towards this project. Again, you know, subscribe if you want to eventually see that tutorial or pattern. Going back to tapestry crochet, so another tapestry project or pattern that I've had for a really long time is the Brontosaurus sweater from Made in the Moment. And I bought this, I think, either at the same time or around the same time as I bought the On Fire, I'm Fire sweater. And again, I was just intimidated by tapestry crochet. I got frightened and I just haven't done it. I love dinosaurs. They're one of my favorite animals. I mean, I think they class as a favorite animal, but I am a cliche autistic person who loves dinosaurs. Jurassic Park and the franchise is one of my special interests, one of my favorite movies, and yeah, I love dinosaurs, so why not put it on a sweater? I got the Brontosaurus one because I think Made in the Moment has 2 or maybe 3 dinosaur tapestry like project patterns, and I think I bought this one because it had minimal color changes. I think there's only like 2 colors for the Brontosaurus and then like a background color, if I remember correctly. Again, when I kind of skimmed through the pattern when I first got it, it was very simple, it was very easy to read, the charts looked really good. So I'm excited to do these tapestry projects because the work has been done for me, you know, like somebody's already done the maths of the graph and the grid. Somebody, especially with the made in the moment ones, because they have actually turned it into a sweater. The Ty Bailey one will be, I don't think, any more difficult, but obviously I have to turn it into a wearable. But at least with the made in the moment ones, they are already sweaters, they're already wearables. So I'm actually quite looking forward to it because I don't have to think. I just have to, well, I don't have to think before, I just have to think while I'm doing, you know. So I think it will eliminate a lot more of the work that kind of goes into a tapestry crochet project. And you know, I fucking love dinosaurs, so I think it's going to turn out really cute. I do have a color palette in mind where I have actually so it's the dark green and the light green from this sweater. I have some of that left over, and then I have like a dark purple, which I think would look so cute as like the background color, you know. I think that would look really nice. And then for the next project, so again, kind of going back to the whole I want to frog my old projects and reuse the yarn thing, I made a cardigan, and it's again it's the same pattern from Erin B or Erin Ryko. It was like a v-neck cardigan, and I used my yarn that I got from my mum again, but the yarn that I used was like a faux mohair, and I didn't know that when you use a mohair or a faux mohair that you, and when I say faux, I'm saying like fake, F-A-U-X. Whenever I say faux mohair, people don't know what I'm saying. I'm saying faux, F-A-U-X, as in fake mohair. Maybe I'll just say fake. Anyway, when I used this fake mohair, I didn't know that if you use a bigger hook, it kind of creates this really nice lacy, drapey sort of vibe. And I used the hook that it told me to, which was like a 3mm. And the cardigan turned out okay. It turned out fine, but it's definitely a lot tighter than it, like as in the stitches are a lot tighter, and as well my tension was pretty terrible back then. So I really want to utilize this yarn and make it into something nicer and something better. I also did because I was trying to be fun and cool, which is crazy for me because I was like, this is the this was the second wearable I ever crocheted. But on the sleeves I did like puff stitches. I think they were either puff stitches or popcorn stitches, I actually can't remember, but that's what I did for the sleeves. And so I do have a feeling that frogging it is going to be a bitch, because frogging mohair or fake mohair is already a bit of a bitch, let alone when you do a popcorn stitch. So that's going to be a whole process in itself. But I basically want to use that yarn and turn it into like kind of like a nice loose, oversized, very drapey sweater. Maybe something with stripes, I'm thinking. Maybe like some thick stripes and just kind of like alternating the thickness of the stripes. I think that would look really cool. But I really want to utilize that yarn and turn it into something more suitable for the yarn. And the next project, which is going to be my Halloween project, is I have seen on my, and these have been on my Pinterest board for so long, but you know the kind of like vintage, like very tacky, very kitschy, very campy, like Halloween sweaters and cardigans, where it's like, it's essentially like a tapestry half the time, where it's got like a pumpkin and it will have like a crescent moon and then like a cat or like a haunted house, and it will kind of be all these like different Halloween-y things on a cardigan, or it's like sometimes on like a sweater vest and stuff you may have seen. But I really want to make my own version, and I think they look so fun and they look so campy, and so I don't know, they just bring me so much joy. So I really want to make my own version of one. Whether I will source a pattern or do the graphs myself, I'm not sure. It's almost a year away, so I will cross that bridge when it comes to it. But I really want to make one. I think it would look so cool. And again, especially by that time, hopefully I'll have a fair bit of like scrap yarn that I can put towards it, that I think would work quite well for like a tapestry of that size, you know? And then sticking on the tapestry sort of theme, I recently crocheted a sweater from Monsters University, which was the Uzma Kappa sweater, which I have already mentioned. But I really want to make, this is kind of, I might do it, I might not do it, but I want to maybe do a sweater that's got MU on it, so like Monsters University, and the M has like a little I in it. It's very kind of like varsity style font sort of thing. I think I want to maybe do a MU version of my Uzma Kappa sweater. I don't think in the movie they have official MU sweaters. I think they have like, it's on like a cap or something, and I think like on banners and stuff like that. So the logo does exist, I just don't think it exists in as a sweater in the film. Because it doesn't exist in the movie, I can make it whatever colors I want. I mean, ultimately I could make it any colors I want anyway, even if it did exist in the movie, but like, knowing me, I would be like, I need to make this movie accurate. But I don't have to do that because A, I make my own decisions, I'm an adult, and B, the sweater doesn't exist in the film. So again, I can do what I want because I'm an adult. So I can do it in whatever colors I want. So again, it might be a really good kind of scrappy project to do. It's particularly towards the end of the year because I would have done quite a lot of projects by then. And then the next tapestry crochet idea I had is, I love Bob's Burgers. It's one of my comfort shows. I watch it all the time. I've rewatched it a bajillion times. I love Bob's Burgers and I love Kuchikopi. I think Kuchikopi is an icon, and I love that he's lime green. I love that he protects Louise. I think he's just so fun and so cool and just so weird. And I love Louise as a character. I kind of, it's so funny, I see myself in so many of the Belchers. Like sometimes I'm Linda, sometimes I'm Bob, sometimes I'm Tina, sometimes I'm Louise. I'm very rarely Jean, which is ironic because Jean's the middle child and I'm a middle child, but I'm very rarely Jean. Ironically, I'm the most like Linda. So if you want to know more about me, I am more like Linda than any of the characters. Anyway, I digress. I want to do, or potentially, this is just a very rough idea, I kind of want to do a tapestry project of Kuchikopi on a sweater. I think that would look so fun and so cool. And like, especially if I do the Kuchikopi where he's got like his little bow tie. Oh my god, that would be so fun, right? And so the reason why I kind of was thinking about Kuchikopi is because with one of the projects that I mentioned, I have a lime green that would be the perfect colour for Kuchikopi. But yeah, so that's kind of the last, oh wait, also, so I'm not sure how I feel about this one. So for what year are we in? 2024. So for 2023, Christmas 2023, I crocheted my mum a cardigan for her Christmas gift, and I made it to be like quite oversized, and I made it in quite a thin yarn. It's a cotton and acrylic blend yarn, and it was like kind of waist height, but I think because of the weight of the cotton and the acrylic, it's kind of stretched it out a little bit, so it's actually quite a bit bigger on her now, which is obviously inconvenient, and she hasn't really reached for it. And like, there's one thing about my mum, she's gonna be honest when it comes to stuff like this, especially gifts and whatever. But when I saw her for Christmas just gone, she was kind of saying, she was like, oh, it's actually too big. She was like, are you able to fix it? The only way I can fix it is to start from scratch. So I have been given the card, and I told her this, she's aware of it, and I said I can do it, but don't expect it anytime soon. Don't expect it like for your birthday or even for Christmas next year. Like, don't expect it anytime soon. I will work on it when I can work on it, sort of thing, and when I want to work on it, because I don't want to put the pressure on myself. I don't want her to kind of, you know, get her expectations up or whatever. Obviously I want to actually do it so she has it to wear, but I would have to redo the entire cardigan, and it's a really fine yarn. My mum doesn't like cropped stuff, so you know, it's going to take me a long time to do it. I put it at like the last thing on my list because I will probably be more inclined to make it kind of like in between my projects and stuff. So I think maybe if like in between one or two projects I maybe frog it, and then maybe in between another couple of projects I can maybe make a start on like the front panels, and then then just kind of slowly work on it throughout the year. I'm not particularly hyped on it because, you know, I made a cardigan, it just doesn't fit her, so I will ultimately have to and need to redo the whole thing. She was like, oh, can you maybe just like tighten it? And I was like, well, unless I start sewing, you know, and like put darts in it maybe to tighten it up. But I was like, even then, because the front panels are so much wider than they need to be, it's still not really gonna sit right. And then I also did the sleeves in the round, so it's not even like, oh, I can detach all of the panels and then adjust just the front panel and the back panel, because she said the sleeves are fine, so they don't need any work. But I did the sleeves in the round, so I will have to deconstruct the entire sleeve and then deconstruct the front and the back panels, which is fine. Like I said, it's fine. It's annoying, sure, but it's fine. I would much rather, you know, take some time and redo the cardigan than her have something that she's not going to wear, especially the fact that it does take me a long time. Like, I'm actually quite glad that she was honest and she didn't just like lie, you know, and she was like, if you can fix it, you can fix it, great, sort of thing. So yeah, that's kind of the last thing that I really want to be working on, or at least like intermittently within other projects that I'm doing. So my goal for 2025 is to not buy any more yarn. I don't need any more yarn. I have a big kind of chest of drawers that is full of yarn. I have some spare bags lying around that is also full of yarn, and I just don't need any more yarn. Like I said, I have a bunch of yarn from frogged projects from ages ago that I haven't touched, I haven't done anything with. So I think my goal for this year is to A, not buy any more yarn, but B, really utilize the yarn that I have. And I think I'll be able to do that by concentrating on the yarn that I have, by not buying any, you know. I think they kind of go hand in hand. But since that is my goal, I think for my next video I'm going to do like a little yarn tour, maybe do like a reorganizing of my current yarn stash because it is a little bit messy in there, and just to kind of mentally assign particular yarn to particular projects. Now that I have all of my projects in mind, I think it will be a lot easier for me to figure out how much yarn of, you know, each color or whatever I have, and then assign it to one of the projects that I really want to do. So I think that will be my next video. I'll take you on a little yarn tour, we'll tidy up the yarn that I have, we'll assign it to the projects that I've just mentioned, and I'll bring you along on the journey with me. But yeah, that's everything that I want to crochet for 2025. I'm sure there will be many more things that I add to the list. I'll probably end up buying patterns that I inevitably forget about, but those are the ones that kind of have been you know, stuck in my brain, that I've like got screenshots of, or I've taken a picture of a TV character where I'm like, oh, I think their outfit's really cool or whatever. And obviously there is a lot on this list. There's what, like 26 different things. It's unlikely I'm gonna do all of them, and like that's okay. I've very much written this list as like just a rough guide and like almost like a brainstorm of the things that I want to crochet for 2025, rather than this is a definitive list of everything I want to crochet. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me whilst I kind of, you know, info dumped on my little 2025 plan. Obviously, like I mentioned, my next video is going to be like a little yarn tour. We're going to be assigning the yarn to each of these projects, hopefully. And if you want to see how I store my yarn and stuff, make sure you give me a little subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a little like, leave me a comment, let me know if there are any of these projects that you're maybe going to do as well, or what you've got on your agenda for 2025. And I would love to connect with you. My Instagram and my TikTok are down below, but my @ is not half bad crochet. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you on the next video.